Hello, I'm attorney Paul Whalen at Afford Law. At Afford Law, we practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts. All of our fees are based on a sliding scale, which is based on your income. That means the less you make, the less you pay. Today, I wanted to take a few minutes to discuss property division in a Massachusetts divorce. How is property divided in a Massachusetts divorce? Well, property division is one of the big factors in any divorce. Who gets what? That's a big thing that the judge has to decide. Property is basically divided into two categories. There is marital property and there is separate property. Marital property is basically anything that's purchased during the course of the marriage for the benefit of the couple or the family. Separate property is something that is generally property that is possessed by one of the parties prior to the marriage or is acquired during the course of the marriage but is intended for only one of the people in the marriage, one of the spouses. Typically, you see that in situations where there's a gift or there's inheritance. Um, if it's a gift given specifically to one person, or if you inherit something from your parents, say, that is intended for you and for you only, that is considered separate property. Now, keep in mind that even though it's called separate property, that doesn't mean that it can't be put into the marital estate and divided by a judge. Massachusetts is what they call an equitable property state. So that means that property is divided not equally, but fairly. And of course, what one person thinks is fair, oftentimes the other person does not think is fair. But the judge, using his or her discretion, has a great deal of discretion in deciding how property is going to be divided. So even if property is considered separate property, the judge still has the ability to take that separate property and put it into the marital estate and divide it between the parties. Um, there's not much you can do about that afterwards. There's not much of an appeal process. As I say, the trial judge is given a great deal of discretion. So if property is acquired during the course of the marriage and it comes through an inheritance, let's just say, to complicate things even more, somebody gets a considerable amount of money, and then you purchase a home. Then you live in the home for a period of time. It's the marital home. Both parties are living there for a number of years. Now, is that home, is that considered marital property or separate property? Well, the money to buy the home came as separate property, but it was put into the home itself, which was shared by the parties. Perhaps both of the parties helped make mortgage payments, helped on the upkeep of it, and so forth. So it gets it's a pretty much a gray area as far as what property is to be divided and what property is separate, what property is marital. But as I say, if a judge wants to, they can grab the separate property and put it into the marital estate and then can divide it from there. So that's sort of a quick rundown on what is marital property and separate property and how property is to be divided in Massachusetts. As I say, at Afford Law, we do practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts. Our fees are all based on a sliding scale, which is based on your income. So that means the less you make, the less you have to pay. We're trying to give voice in the courtroom to the hardworking men and women of Massachusetts. I hope you take the opportunity to visit us at affordlaw.org and check out some of the resources we have for you there. We have a lot of answers to frequently asked questions, which can give you a great deal of information. And I hope you take the opportunity to book a free virtual appointment with me. I would be happy to answer any specific questions you have about marital property, division of property, anything to do with divorce or criminal law in Rhode Island. That's a free virtual consultation. At Afford Law, we're making justice affordable.